Hello and welcome to the Film Pittsburgh Fall Festival. I'm Caroline Collins from Film Pittsburgh, and we're delighted that you can join us today to talk with some of the creators of the block of short films that you just saw. I'd like everyone to first welcome everyone. Hi. Thanks for joining us. And I'd love to have you all introduce yourselves and tell us what your film is and what your role was in the film. Haohao, can I start with you?
Hi everyone, my name is Haohao Yan. I'm the writer-director for short film The Speech.
Great. Meredith?
My name is Meredith Bragg. I am the co-writer and co-director along with my brother Austin Bragg of the short film A Piece of Cake.
Terrific. Ben?
Hi, my name is Ben West. I am a co-director along with Aviva Kempner and producer on Imagining the Indian, the fight against Native American mascotting.
Great.
Aviva Kempner, co-director and co-producer. And I just want to say we're recording this today on October 27th, and I'm thinking about those who died at the Tree of Life Synagogue and thinking of you all.
Thank you, Aviva. We are here based in Pittsburgh, and so that's forefront in our memories and in our thoughts today.
And my father moved to Pittsburgh, and all the family from Eastern Europe, Jewish families, grew up in Pittsburgh. So I feel an inkling to it.
Oh my goodness! Well, you're a kindred spirit then. And Emil.
Hey guys, I'm Emil. I'm the co-writer and director of 1, 2, 3, All Eyes on Me.
Terrific. Thank you all very much. It's so great to talk with you. I love these films. This is a very strong block and a little bit difficult, some of them to watch, but really important films, I think. And I just love to know what the story is behind all of them. Haohao, can you tell us, I think your story, people might feel the similarities to the COVID crisis right now. So, but yours was shot long before that, am I right?
Right. Yeah, we shot in the summer of 2019. So it's like it's a coincidence that this happened. It's based on my childhood experience when I was living in Beijing, China. I went to a boarding school when SARS happened in 2003, and the whole country was had a lockdown, and we have to live inside a boarding school for 3 months. So it's kind of taken from that experience I had.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that the children were able to see their parents, but sort of from a distance. Was that your personal experience as well?
Yeah, we actually had to do that because nobody knew how SARS spread at that time. So in order just to be safe, we have these fences. Those are 5 meters apart, and you can yell at each other and see each other's faces. But that's just to make sure it's safe. There's nothing coming in or out. There's no interactions. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And your film, of course, being about a boarding school, is all your cast is almost all children. How was that experience working with them? How were they?
They're great. I love my talents. Most of them are non-actors, and they did really well, I think. I learned a lot from them. Also rewrote a lot of stuff, went back to the script and changed a lot of stuff based on their own personalities. And I think that really helped me because they actually brought in a lot more to the characters. I wrote them based on my own memory of myself and my childhood friends, but I think them being actual kids really add another layer and put in their energy into the film. So that's great.
Yeah, they really did. They each sort of shone, I would say. They were very distinct characters and very, they seem very real. So that explains why. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thanks. Have you had any comments or from other festivals about the parallels between now and the SARS crisis?
Yeah, I think because the film, I finished it at the end of 2019, and at the point where the film reaches festivals, the pandemic already started. So I kind of don't know how people will see it when it's not during the pandemic. I only had feedbacks from since March, so that's not my choice. That's just what happened. So but I'm glad that people are more relatable. People completely can put themselves in their shoes because that's what we're going through right now, like similar situations. So I think that's great.
Yeah, I agree. From the very first scene with the person with the mask on, I wondered if it was, in fact, made within the quarantine. I thought, wow, you really turned this around quickly until you got a little bit further into it.
No, we were worried because during pre-production, a lot of people. I made it with my school when I was doing my graduate program, and we were worried so many people have never heard of SARS and doesn't know what a pandemic feels like. And when we're doing the edits, one of our editor teacher actually thought it's a sci-fi because he sees people wearing masks and doing temperature tests and stuff. And we were so worried, like, what if people take it as sci-fi? But luckily, nobody took that direction this year. So that's
now
a relief.
Everybody understands.
Yes.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, it was a very beautiful little film, and the children were wonderful. So I really commend you for it.
Thank you.
And Meredith, tell us a little bit about A Piece of Cake.
Sure. So it's A Piece of Cake is a comedy about a father who is seeking those silver dragée balls, which are sort of silver confectionery balls that go on top of cakes or holiday cookies. This is a promise to his daughter, and he finds that they are effectively illegal in California. And this takes him on a strange journey into a sort of subculture of black market cake confectionery and other things.
Did not know that such a thing existed. Is this a personal experience that this was based on?
No, you know what? It's one of these, yes and no. Okay. I'm actually, my brother and I, we live out in Washington, D.C., so just on the Virginia side. We had come across this sort of bizarre, true fact that it's very, very, very difficult to get them in California because they are essentially illegal. And the film goes into it a bit as people have already watched it. I mean, all that is true. And if you try and buy them from California, we actually have to take dragées on the airplane with us. So we had canisters of these silver balls, which was interesting for TSA, as we were flying to California to shoot, because we shot in LA and we had a great LA cast and crew. But we also both have kids, and our kids are young. They ask for interesting and fun and creative things. So as a parent, you always try, I think, to, try to give your kids what they want, especially for their birthday. So I've thrown a Moana / Queen Elizabeth themed birthday a few years ago.
That may be a first.
Halloween costumes are always interesting. My eldest in particular likes to go as strange things. So it's, it's not the moon. She wants to be the moon landing, in particular, the moon landing or the Eiffel Tower, but it has to light up these things. So we're
very creative.
It just becomes part of parenthood, I think, and it's understood. You want to do the things you promise your children, you want to actually fulfill.
Absolutely. Even if it is black market.
Even if it means, yes.
Well, now you directed this with your brother. Did you both write and direct?
Yes, we're a team. So we've been writing and directing things since we were kids and had a tape recorder and doing bad Star Wars parodies. And that has, off and on progressed through college where he had a sketch show and I would help him write things. I made some short films on really bad films for the internet. And so we've been working together for quite some time.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask how that was, but obviously this is old hat to you now. Do you live in the same city, or do you? We live
a county away.
Oh, okay.
Not too far, so about half an hour away. Yeah,
it's much easier you're not commuting back and forth to LA, or I guess right now you're sort
no
of.
one is, so yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, thank you. That's very great. And moving on then to Aviva and Ben, what we saw earlier in the shorts block is really just a part of a bigger project, correct? Tell us a little bit about how you came upon this. Obviously the idea, but how you decided to make a documentary about it and where it is now.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, who goes first? I'll jump in on that. So another two of the producers, Kevin Blackistone and Sam Bardley, actually began this project back in 2014. had a little trouble getting it going. They eventually came to Aviva with the idea. Aviva and I had written a feature script together about Larry Casus, whom is a Navajo activist who was killed in a shootout with Gallup police in 1973. I myself am Cheyenne, Native American. So Aviva thought this is subject matter that is clearly important, and she has worked in the Native space before. She can tell you a little bit about that, but she thought, well, yeah, why don't I bring Ben into the fold here? And it's been we had a great start as a team, and yeah, we hope to bring a longer version of this ultimately to an audience. An important and timely subject. We're living in the COVID age and an age of racial reckoning here. So a lot going on all at once, and I think the film is certainly relevant at the current time.
It absolutely is. Aviva?
Well, for 40 years, I've been making films about underknown Jewish heroes.
Yes.
And when I had come to Washington area, I've been living here for more than 40 years. I was aghast to see the name of the football team, because I had worked in Vista in New Mexico and was very involved with Native American activism in the early 70s. So when Kevin came to me, I said, oh my gosh, we've got to do this film. This is just awful. And then, of course, you have like Cleveland Indians, you have the Atlanta Braves, et cetera, et cetera. We still have 5 professional teams, and we very much had the Washington football team with its insidious name. So we've been working on this, and then all of a sudden, out of the Black Lives Matter movement, this issue has really come to a head. So we added to our work in progress, and we're busy still fundraising. Although we do have an executive producer, we have one tribe, Yokudi, who's part of the team in producing the film. And it's just amazing to me how when people see the 20 minutes, they say, oh my gosh, that's so wrong. How can you? And, partly in terms of Kevin and Sam working on this film, as African Americans who follow the football team here, they came to an awareness. And I think it's really important, with someone who's so sensitive on negative stereotypes about Jews, that I'm really glad to be able to do this film and to get it out hopefully by the end of next year so activists can use it, because we have over 2,000 schools and high schools and colleges that still have to have a reckoning.
Yes. Yeah. It really, there's so much depth to it with all of the background, the history that you go through for it. And then it's so relevant today. So it really just covers all of that. And have you found, or do you think that it'll be, I guess what I'm thinking of is this is what film does. It sort of changes our perceptions. Do you think that bringing it out into the world will make a difference?
We certainly hope so. And, the fact is, there are plenty of people out there that are unaware that that these, mascots and we get into depictions in TV and film, and it goes deeper than the sports mascot. That's just sort of our window into portrayals in general. But there are plenty of people out there who don't realize that there's empirical research that this sort of thing affects the self-esteem of Native people, youth especially, contributing to suicide rates that are unprecedented, recognized as such by the CDC. So we hope it is used as an educational tool, both as just a film, and then, as Aviva alluded to, the Chesla Foundation often produces educational components, DVD or Blu-ray extras at this point, that can be used along with a teaching guide in classrooms anywhere from elementary to university level classrooms. So that's another aspect of it that we're really excited about in providing an education to those who may not know.
Well, it truly is an education, and it's also just a beautifully developed film. The storytelling behind it is lovely as well, and just really thoughtful and thought-provoking.
And also, as Christine Brennan says in the film, a very noted sports writer for USA Today, then it's really going to be up to the Gen Z and the Parkland generation. It's the young kids that are going to make the difference, you know, in their schools. So we just hope to get this out. And also a study guide is also, you know, very important.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. We're anxious to see the full length, and you'll have to bring it back to Three Rivers next year when it's finished.
Hopefully, if it gets all funded, we'll be back.
Okay.
In person, that's what we want.
What is that, Aviva?
In person.
In person. That's what we all want. Absolutely. And Emil, your film is very timely as well. And it was, as a parent, very difficult to watch. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just kind of following in the theme of everyone that's gone before me. I made the film because I felt like we understand these situations occur. And for the other filmmakers who haven't seen the film yet, it's about a school shooting or a mass shooting that takes place at a school. And obviously, as a country, we know that these incidences occur and they're tragic, but I just felt like they were happening with such frequency that the people involved were being reduced to a number of, you know, wounded or deceased, and like we were losing our humanity and forgetting that these are people, and even their survivors will be affected permanently by what they experienced. And so I just felt like while there's a ton of other films on this subject, I wanted to bring the audience inside the classroom and understand emotionally what this would be like from the teacher's perspective, and to be this adult in the middle of this situation and have all these little lives that you're kind of forced to be responsible for. Yeah. And to depict that like in a much more emotional way.
Yeah, and your filmmaking style really communicated that, because it was really, you felt like we were brought into that classroom, and you really felt like you could see things from the children's point of view and from the teacher's perspective. So I think that really helped the power of it.
Thank you. That was 100% our intention.
Yeah, amazing. So, where you're on the film festival circuit, obviously, but what is the future? What do you plan for the film and for your own projects?
Yeah, so the film has done extraordinarily well, which is kind of a surprise, because when I was still getting feedback on the scripts before we shot anything, people were reading the script and telling me that like it was such a brutal story and subject matter, and that no one was going to program it. No one wanted to watch this film. It was just too hard to sit through. And so I decided to make it anyway, obviously. So it was kind of a surprise that the film has done as well as it has in festivals so far. And I feel just extremely grateful, and we've gotten a ton of feedback from teachers and other people that have seen it, and I think it's definitely resonating. So I feel like grateful for that. But I also feel like this is the story I wanted to tell. I don't plan to turn 1, 2, 3 into a feature-length film. And then going into my next project, I started developing a feature, and that was right about when we started sheltering in place and quarantining, and making 1, 2, 3 was such a difficult film emotionally, and I like live in this subject matter, from writing it, from researching it, writing it, shooting it, editing it. I mean, then talking, answering all these questions. So there's like months and months. Oh, it's been over a year now. Yeah. So the next project I'm working on is a dramedy. It still deals with some very heavy subject matter. It's still another social justice topic. That's what I'm passionate about. But it's a dramedy. We have some more levity in there. There's humor, and it's a feature-length film. So if you liked 1, 2, 3, you should like this film. But you'll laugh a lot more before you cry.
Yes, I'm sure. Absolutely. And you have another personal connection to 1, 2, 3, correct? Your mother is a teacher, is that right?
Yeah. So my mom was a teacher for over 30 years, and while it didn't, I mean, fortunately, nothing like this happened to her. But I think it just kind of always in the background, I had this very deep respect for teachers and how much they give, even, you know, Monday through Friday in a regular day, just seeing how committed my mom was and how much she extended herself and her own money that she would spend, and, you know, how much she cared about her students long after they left the school. And so that was just kind of in the background, this respect that I had. So, yeah. Yeah.
That puts me in mind, Haohao, of the couple of the people working in the school in your film who had to shelter there with the children and just were devoting themselves to the children over that time as well. It's really, I think, a mark of a good teacher is that dedication. Well, thank you all so much for talking with us this afternoon. I've really enjoyed getting to know all of you and a little bit more about your projects, and we are so grateful that you shared them with our Film Pittsburgh audience.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of the festival.
And everyone wear a mask and go vote.
Yes.
Oh, you would have voted, I guess, by the time you see.
Yes, hopefully everyone voted.